we're on the air with Sean David Morton. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Oh, I missed you so much. Thank you, sir. And JP, again, I can't thank you enough. You're the only person that set up a 520 number for me to be able to call from out of Tucson and set up a Skype account. And you've just been, you and Lady Bex have just been wonderful friends and just really magnificent. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you ever so much. I'm going to come sleep on your couch in Scotland for a while, and we're going to make you famous, okay? Can we do that? Get you an agent in Scotland.
Well, I don't know about the fame. We'll find a B&B for you. We haven't got much of a couch.
Okay, well that's fine. Anything in Scotland. All right, here's what's going on, which is kind of cool, interesting stuff. We'll talk about some political stuff. We'll talk about some spiritual stuff, some dates and times and all that. First off, I want to tell everybody that Melissa is finally out. She's gone from being an inmate to what they call a resident. If you want to look up the legal definition of resident sometime, you realize that it's a person that can't own property, can't own guns, can't own whatever else. So she's at the beautiful Watts Hilton on the corner of Crip Street and Blood Boulevard in South Central Los Angeles. If you want to write her address is 9311 South Central Boulevard, Los Angeles 90002. Also, her email now, so you can email her, is at chasingstar999@AOL.com. That's chasingstar999@AOL.com. She does need some help. She needs literally like $150 to pay for the storage unit for another month. She needs $1,200 for we have a Ford Escape, a 2006 Ford Escape, and our friends on the outside decided to help themselves to it, and they drove it into the ground. So they broke the cooling system on it, so she's doing everything she can to get it fixed by sort of like backyard mechanics there and order parts from rockauto.com, but she still needs $1,200 just to get her car fixed. So there's that. So she is actually out and about. She's going to be volunteering at the Conscious Life Expo, which is going to be in the next couple of weekends here at the Los Angeles Hilton. So I want to thank Robert Quicksilver and Serena Wright-Taylor and all those people for doing that. And also my personal angels in here, Wendy Angel and Elizabeth Boyer, for being so kind. She just sent me a great book on Davy Crockett because I want to turn Davy Crockett into a TV series again. And all the books that she sent me, and there's a group of people. My friend Hillary Lowndes is going to come visit here pretty soon. So, but just wonderful people out there who've helped us and supported us, Jim and Sally Pathos, and Richard Schenkberg, and Mark Urban, and Gary and Candace Weiss. And so I just, I have to read these people up, because you never know who your friends are before you get stuck in a place like this. As far as my case goes, again, the only reason I've been in here so long is because I would not take an attorney. They tried to force an attorney on me 5 times. I had to go to literally an appellate hearing to have the judge go, okay, well, he knows what he's talking about. Then it took us that long to get discovery. They provided us with no discovery during trial, and they went judge shopping, and they suborned perjury from witnesses, and they stacked the jury with people that were friends of the prosecutor, and we believe that they actually hired an actress to testify as one of the witnesses. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The thing is that the government realizes the feds and Valerie Makowicz and James C. Hughes are the people who persecuted us. They realize that they're just completely out of tricks. They've got nothing else left. So I have 6 dispository motions that are in with the Ninth Circuit Court. They were submitted November 21st. The government had until December 1st to respond. And they didn't. They left the field, just unopposed, uncontested. They just went, okay, you win. So all I'm doing now is just waiting for the Ninth Circuit Court to rule on this, and I'm out of here. Should that fail, should the Ninth Circuit Court come around and say, I don't know how they can do it with unopposed and uncontested motions. If they just deny all the motions, then I put in a habeas corpus. It'll probably get me out of here in 30 days. And if that all fails, then I finally put in my appeal. I mean, we were told by the lawyers in the Ninth Circuit Court that an appeal was unnecessary because the legal aspects of this case were so heinous and so terrible that they'd done so many things wrong, and that I was a publicity stunt. I was a complete case to be able to hang people that were leaders of this movement. And again, I believe that I was put in here because of the material that was put into my book, Sands of Time. Now, Melissa's going to try to get the books back up at StrangeUniverseRadio.com. So StrangeUniverseRadio.com, so you'll be able to order Sands of Time 1, 2, and 3 again. All right, let's talk about some interesting stuff here. First off, Donald Trump. it's kind of interesting because I get what I call the hopium media that talks about Trump doing all these things behind the scenes. The only thing I can tell you is that him ending the government shutdown for 3 weeks is going to result in him declaring a national emergency at the end of those 3 weeks. It's going to be interesting that he's going to be giving the State of the Union address on February 5th. That should be an interesting case of time. But all these people talking about Trump rounding everybody up.
This call is from a federal prison.
This is the real mystery. There are still 71,322 sealed indictments that are sitting on Pacer. I know. I've seen them with my own eyes. I've checked them. When he's eventually going to get either Barr as the new Attorney General to start enforcing these, and of course they're telling you that ships are leaving for Gitmo and they're taking Hillary Clinton and Obama and all this stuff. That's just nonsense. But what I think is going to happen, what I would suggest would happen is that what Trump does is that he declares national emergency. He's already found $7 billion literally just laying around. He's had the Office of Management and Budget working on this for months now, and they found like $7 billion just in the couch cushions of the federal government to be able to build the wall. But I think what he should do is the moment he declares the national emergency, he should get his attorneys to then sue in the federal courts to make this go through so that they have a lawsuit and that they have a ruling first before the crazy demon rats and these scumbags jump on him and they sue him to try to delay the wall. It's much better that he be proactive. Whether or not he does that, I have no idea. But watch he's going to get far more money for the wall, between, as I said, about $7 to $10 billion just in spare change, and I think he's going to start pulling people out of Syria and Afghanistan to come build it. So anyway, one way or another, the wall's going to get built as we go along here. I think it's going to be interesting too, because right now the two people polling as far as Democratic candidates for 2020 are probably Beto O'Rourke and Kamala Harris. Maybe Kamala is a vice presidential. And it's going to be interesting too, because there is the good possibility that the guy that owns Starbucks actually runs as a third party, and that really destroys the Democrats, which basically hands it to Trump again. I still think that if he's elected in 2020, that there is the possibility that Trump dies in office. Now, let me talk about astrologically about what's going on with the United States right now, because I think this period of time, it's very interesting, the February 15th date that they've given, where I don't think the government's going to shut down again. I think he just continues on. I think he declares the national emergency, and the Democrats get nothing. I mean, they get nothing. They're not going to get DACA. They're not going to get anything. Because they've just been completely radicalized, and this bitch, this crazy lunatic millennial, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's a congresswoman from New Jersey, I think. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is living proof of what happens when you let an iPhone raise your child. These lunatics in the Democratic Party are just, they've lost their minds. They're just complete pure. They're not even socialists. They're basically communists now, and they don't know what they're talking about, and they're so completely out of touch with what's really going on with America. Now, here's what's interesting about the chart of the United States. Let's talk about a couple of things. First off, let's talk about the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar, as we know, shifted to a new phase in 2012. Now, the calendar didn't end. There were all these people. There was a big movie, the 2012 movie about that all you need apparently is a Winnebago and a limousine to be able to survive the apocalypse. But what it did was that it shifted phase, and the reason the calendar goes into kind of a void space is because now for the first time in 26,000 years, we have all the blocks and all the veils and all the constrictors, if you will, off the brain. So we've lived for a long period of time with just the left side, with the right side of the brain open. Now, finally, the left side of the brain, which we call the passive, feminine, submissive, but it's literally the quantum time side of the brain that hears all, sees all. It's the remote viewing side of the brain. It's the part of the brain that's activated by psilocybins, and you see pretty colors, but it thinks in terms of dance and music and fluidic motion. But it sees everything. Well, it sees all time and all space. That veil's gone now. Now it's going to take 13 years from 2012, which, by the way, is 2025, and it's fascinating to me to see how the Mayan calendar then not only intersects with the astrological calendar, but intersects almost directly with the chart of the United States. Now, I'm convinced now that the Founding Fathers were master astrologers. We know they were all Masons. We know they set the government up so it would be founded on July 4th, which is which is the motherly water energy of cancer, that we would then have elections first Tuesday in November, which would be the revolutionary regenerative effect of Scorpio, and we had the president being inaugurated, usually the first Monday in March, which put it in Pisces, which allowed the president to be the servant of the people and not the master of the people. Now, this got changed by FDR under a national emergency, and FDR was also told by his astrologer that if you change it to January 20th, that he would then be president for life, which he was. There's also the zero curse, which I think the zero curse and the eclipse that was right on top of Trump that happened last year, August 17th or so, and which means that he may not actually survive in office. He'll be reelected in 2020, but he may not make it through there. Now, this is what's interesting. If you look at the chart of the United States in 1776, the United States has Pluto at 27 degrees Capricorn. Now, that happens in April. I think it's April 6th of 2022. Now, that's really when all hell is going to break loose, because between 2022 and 2025, you have Pluto moving over that decapoint, in the chart of the United States, something like 4 times. It moves over it and retrogrades and backs up. It's like literally getting hit by a truck, and then having the truck back up over you and then run over you again, and I missed you another time, back up over you and hit you again. And Pluto then moves into Aquarius, finally, the new age. We have a brief preview of it in 2023, where it moves into Aquarius for a moment, for about 4 months or so, and we see this, it's like suddenly the foot comes off the neck for a brief period of time, and it goes back into Capricorn one last time.
This call is from a federal prison.
And then finally, I think Christmas Day, December 24th of 2024, you actually have Pluto moving into Aquarius, which will be literally be the new age for the United States. Now, the other fascinating part about this is that, let's say that 2022 is 1776. That makes this year 1773. And 1773 is when the Boston Tea Party happened. And that same thing is going to happen on, oddly enough, somewhere around the same aspect. If folks want to check it, 1773, the Boston Tea Party, and the real beginnings of the revolution, that's going to start on February 15th. So it's fascinating to look at all the timing of all of this. And it's whether or not Trump is really going to take on the deep state, and whether bar loose on these guys. Anyway, God bless everybody. Please, everybody, email Melissa, chasingstar999 at AOL.com, just to make sure she's okay, and help us fix our car and help her buy some clothes and whatever else. And I'll be out of here lickety-split. God love you. Bless you. Infinite blessings to everybody. Thank you, JP.
You're welcome. Good night, John, and thanks.
All right, partner. Okay, bye.